extra time waiting for the acolyte. I am gonna catch that fool. You will think I'm really cool. All I wanna do is impress you with my mouse trap. All I wanna do is convince you with my cheese. All I'll do is be the coolest cat here, but I'll need some more super breed. Just watch me, mouse. Just watch me catch you. Just watch me, mouse. Just watch me catch you, catch you, catch you. All I wanna do is impress you with my mouse trap. All I wanna do is convince you with my cheese. All I wanna do is be the coolest cat here, but I'll need some more super breed. Oh, but I need some more super breed. Oh, but I need some more super breed.
Hello, MouseHunt. Welcome to Feedback Friday and a happy Halloween to everybody. How's everybody doing today? Looks like there's 45 hunters. See, it's a little quiet today. I wonder if the time changed. I think some parts of the world the time has changed. And it hasn't quite changed here yet. That's coming next week as well. So we've got a little bit of a transition period of awfully confusing times with daylight saving, perhaps. But hello, everybody in the chat. Michelle, nice to see you. Hey, Tarako, happy Halloween to you as well. Summer, happy Friday. Max, happy Friday. KDM, welcome on in. Pulsating Pigeon is feeling spooky. Well, hello, Pigeon. Cute, asking the important questions right away. What did you have for breakfast? A big fat nothing, I guess. Yeah, nothing. I haven't got to that. Coffee, there we go. Max has got the right idea. I guess, does coffee count? I hope so. Daylight saving messed it all off. Yeah, and that's going to be extra confusing because I believe our clocks turn back this weekend. Fall back, right? Yeah, so we'll synchronize with other parts of the world, I guess, in the coming week. We'll see how things go. Yappy, welcome on in. Summer, no time change in your part of the world yet. Well, there we go. It's our regularly scheduled time for you still. Jedi, you're rooting for the Blue Jays. Sounds good to me. Yeah, on Big Friday, that's for sure. Lots of stuff going on. It's Halloween. You got the World Series. You got Feedback Friday. There's mice to catch. There's unlimited things to be doing this Friday. There you go, Michelle. For the next 6 months, Feedback Friday will be 3 p.m. UTC. All right, I'm going to assume Michelle did the hard work for me of figuring out dates and times. I won't venture a guess into trying to do time zone conversion. I feel like I struggle with that at the best of times. More coffee is required before I'll engage in much of that. You've been enjoying the Halloween event so far. Great to hear. Great to hear. Yeah, I thought today we'll touch base on the Gloomy Greenwood. A few important reminders of dates and how the shutdown closes, as well as a good chance to get any feedback on the new potions, as well as the updates to the Boon. We had some feedback there that I think need to fine-tune that and tweak that next year, assuming the Greenwood and the Boon makes a return next year. There's definitely some hunters out there missed some of the potions that the Boon provided. So that's definitely something we've jotted down to tune and change the Boon again for next year. But two, right off the bat, is a good reminder. This is all in the news post as well. It's a nice reference point in case you are looking to remember, when does Halloween close down? How does the event shutdown phase work? On November 3, the ingredients stop dropping. That's the only change, really, is you just can no longer collect ingredients, but your cauldrons will still work. So you can load them up and start processing, trying to work through any stockpile of materials you have. But then about 1 week later, I guess 7 days, November 10, Then the cauldrons stop brewing. So at that point, you have to use a reagent. This was also a recent addition to the Halloween event. Something called the Instant Alchemy Workbench will unlock at that point, and with a few clicks of a button, you can be exchanging some of your mousedrake root for reagent, and then using that reagent to finish a few brews as well. So you can kind of do it in a few fun clicks, kind of finish brewing whatever remainder you have. But then just 2 days after that, November 2, the Greenwood closes. So with that, the cauldrons are gone. So that's definitely a very important date. Make sure you check in on the game before November 12. Use it or lose it. You got to use up any stockpile of mousedrake root that you may have. All the ingredients, those will kind of fade away with the Greenwood cheese, though. You do keep reagent as well. You keep all your reagent if you want to save some of that for next year, assuming the Greenwood makes a return. It might be a little bit too early to say with any certainty, but it's a fairly popular thing players have been enjoying. So actually, mice don't care about daylight saving. Yeah, I don't know if the world of Narnia seems to run on UTC, so I think we adapt to Narnia, I guess. Zedman, hello from Australia. It's already Saturday. Well, happy Saturday to you. Hopefully you had a good week. Yeah, Tarako, you missed some of those potions. So we've been keeping an eye on that as well from the Boon. Things like, say, the Ultimate Potion, I think, is a popular pick. The Promotion Potion as well. So we've kind of been writing down that feedback as well for next year. Should the Boon return, tune some of that as well. It's a little bit of a tricky spot. Definitely, we kind of get some mixed feedback, kind of depending on who you ask. So it's about finding a nice balance. Hopefully everyone can find something they like. Feedback from last year of, depending on what your goals and objectives are, some of the potions you have no use for. They just kind of collect dust in your inventory. Say the Ultimate Potion. If you have no essences and you have absolutely no intention of ever going to the Living Garden again, then you kind of feel like, I have this potion that I didn't ask for and I can't use it. So some of the objective there was to replace it with potions that no matter what stage of the game you're at or what your objectives are, it's a lot more likely to be a useful thing. But obviously what's valuable is very subjective also, and sometimes it's fun just to have a bit of randomness as well. Even if you get something that you may not have a use for, well, then the times that you get something you do have a use for, those feel a little extra special as well. And then everybody decides which of those items they find special. So that's something we'll be looking to tweak and tune a little bit to be more familiar from years past, should the Boon return next year as well. Christopher, welcome on in. Good morning to you. Alvin asking, will the cartographer stop selling event maps during the phase of the shutdown? That is an excellent question. I don't have that right ahead of me, so I don't want to misspeak, and I can't quite recall if that is automated or not. I can't quite remember. I think during the shutdown phase you might be safe, but again, don't quote me on that. That's maybe something good to check up on. I'll jot that down. If I can find my notepad. Cute. Would you consider having potions for elemental Emmental cheese? So actually there kind of is one. Elemental Emmental's in a bit of a unique spot where the epic cheese potion doesn't quite suit it very well because it's made from so many ingredients. There's not really a compelling thing that you would pour it on necessarily to create Emmental. That's why we added the Dragon Ash potion, because ashes are a important ingredient in Emmental. Ashes are almost Emmental, about as close as you can get. You do need some grubs to get the pack. So if you're looking to pick up Emmental, definitely those Dragon Ash potions are probably something that you'll be interested in spending your evil extract on. And then when you visit the Draconic Depths, you can get some Emmental cheese from the shop, but you will need some grubs as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. You'll need to do some collecting of grubs, and then you'll be able to purchase the packs of Emmental cheese. Kind of definitely is almost Emmental, we'll call it that. I've actually been enjoying the new Boiling Cauldron skin. Great to hear. Yeah, it's definitely an important part of the event as the years went by. Maybe even a little bit more important than it originally, thought it would be. It just kind of naturally evolved over time that way. So definitely fun to have some cool skins for that Cauldron trap, seeing as so many players have it armed right now. Hey, Ice, welcome on in. Hope you've been having a good day. Nice to see you as well. Your earbuds are broken. You can only hear me in the right ear. All right, I'm not in stereo for today for you, I guess. Sign saying the rare map dust pot is quite silly, eh? Kind of be interesting to see how many hunters pick up a rare map dust pot. But again, that's kind of the nice thing of choice, of because it's things that you cash out for with your evil extract. Everyone can kind of choose based on their own goals and status, and state of their inventory, what resources they have available. You know, what potions are most interesting to them as well. Sly asking about event for November. So we are going to just quickly touch base on the Treasure Map Mega Party is coming in November as well. And we are just wrapping up development on that. So it looks all set to go. And we'll kind of share when that event will start as well. Yep, you don't mind the change itself, but the way it communicated wasn't clear enough. I think that's fair as well. And that's the tricky part of it. It's a little bit subjective of kind of when you use adjectives of different people may interpret them in different ways. And some of the feedback from last year of, I'm getting all these potions I don't want. I don't find them very valuable at all because I can't use them. But, fair enough. That's in the eye of the beholder. What's worth something? What is one person's trash is another's treasure, right? The whole pawn shops are built upon that concept, so it's definitely understandable. That's different people would find different potions more exciting, and different people would find those a little less exciting. So we jotted that down. I think hopefully we can strike a better middle ground where everybody can be happy in that way. That'll be a goal for next year. Matt, you're getting your essence from the ultimate potions from your Draconic Depths runs, eh? That's part of the fun of having a bit of a random list of loot you can find anywhere. Lady Nutsy, welcome in. Good morning to you as well. Rude, you love the promotion and the epic potion, eh? Those do seem like some popular picks. The Dragonbane potions kind of surged in popularity a little bit with a little bit of increased interest in hunting down dragons as well. Could be a sell option in the apothecary. I accidentally bought way too many of a certain potion. Would love to have an option to sell them back. Even some of the original changes to the boon started with some ideation around how to recycle potions or things you don't want. But as we kind of drill a little bit deeper into it, and you kind of take even one step further back, it's like, well, where are you getting these potions that you really don't want and you're trying to get rid of? Is there a fun way to add agency where you can decide what you do want to avoid even getting something that you don't want? And so that's what led to some changes in the boon as well, to make the focus on picking the potions you want with your evil extract. But it's clear it's also fun sometimes just to be surprised. You don't know what's going to show up on the next hunt. Kind of add some nice variety, some moments of fun, exciting little surprises and what have you. So I think that's something we'll be taking a close look at for next year if the boon makes its return. Summer's looking forward to the map party. Pear's going to buy 60 epic cheese potions. I feel like you should always get at least a few epic cheese potions. And that has to be on the grocery list when you're headed to the store. It's like, milk, eggs, and bread. It's like, well, just, we need to have a few around just in case. Well, you have to have that in the pantry. Paulson's also looking forward to the Treasure Map Mega Party. It was quite the popular event last year. There was quite a frenzy of mapping, and we definitely kept a close eye on feedback. It was mostly very excited feedback. There was certainly a lot of chat about the Map Mega Party. There was some comments that maybe it was a little bit too long, or it was a little bit too impactful. It could be a bit of... I feel like I gotta cram in so many maps, for 2 weeks straight of trying to do as many maps as I can was a little bit over the top. So with that, we tried to find a better balance. We're gonna shorten it to just 1 week this year. It's just 1 week of a map mega party. If you're not familiar with the map mega party, and what it was last year is essentially every map in the game, its capacity gets doubled. So you can have twice as many hunters on the map. There are some exceptions. I think the simplest way to describe the Exceptions are wanted posters and solo maps. Those ones do not get their capacity doubled, but I'm pretty sure there's no other exception to the rule. Every other map, you have twice as many hunters. So for a lot of maps, that means you can have 10 hunters on the map. Scavenger hunts, I believe, have 6. So I think those doubled to 12, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know why I'm just recalling this out of my memory right now. But it's a bit of an exciting way. You can do some maps with some more friends, expand your hunting party a little bit, maybe see some people that you haven't done a map with in a long time as well. So that'll be arriving on Wednesday, November 19. I believe that is 1 week after the Greenwood closes. So you'll cash out, make sure you spend all your evil extract. We'll have 1 week if you want to set up any sort of map runs, start thinking about what scroll cases you have, which scroll cases you may want to go obtain. Definitely part of doing a map is setting yourself up maybe in some positions depending on which friends you're going to be doing a map with. And get all set to do some of the more exciting maps, usually the popular picks during the map mega party. New potions are added in the Draconic Depths reward. So actually that, I forgot to mention that as well. I had a note up here about the Gloomy Greenwood because we did add the Dragon Ash potion and the Denouement Duplicator potion. Those are likely to be added as very uncommon rewards in Conclusion Cliffs. So it's still a work in progress and something I'd like to mention and get sentiments and impressions. Often that helps mold some of our decisions as we're finalizing some design. So at the moment, the version of that we're playing with is it's obtained in a way that you're not going to be able to reliably collect or farm it per se. When you amass a whole lot of them, they're quite uncommon. Sort of when you finish all your other objectives there and you continue to collect resources in the Conclusion Cliffs, one of the things you can do is get something else that has a chance of allowing you to find an ash and a denouement potion happen to be one of those potential rewards that you can find by using some of those resources when you kind of decide you have everything else that you're looking to get from the cliffs. So that's what we're playing around with right now, all subject to change. A lot of play testing to do as well, but it's as always, it's nice to share a little bit of work in progress or the essence of what we're doing a bit, because often we keep our ear to the ground and somebody might have an interesting observation or impression, suggestion, something like that gives us some food for thought to help mold and make those final decisions. Because it's a lot harder to change something once it's released than while it's still being worked on. It's a little bit easier to iterate on. Ice, you thought about having potions smash into something else, but they'll spill all over the ground. Yeah, and there'll be broken glass in them. It's awfully difficult to craft with broken glass. You might be onto something there. Potato, you personally like not having all the potions being in the boon, having to actually choose what to buy with your evil extract. And I know it is kind of, I think hunters were in different camps when it kind of came to that. It was a little bit of a polarizing shift. So we'll try to find a bit of a better balance for next year. But certainly that's some of the motivation as well. It adds that interesting choice of how you spend your extract. Even went into some of the decision of why the Brewer's Boon potion and the Cursed Gold potion were specifically not even available from Baba Gaga's shop, as their identity was tied to the boons. Tried out a little something new, and I think we have some feedback to iterate upon and find a different balance for the boon going forward. Some are not for too long, otherwise we'll wish maps were always allowing for 10 spaces. Yeah, it's fun. I think it's one of those things that's fun for a short period of time, but if it goes on for a little bit too long, maybe it can overstay its welcome a little bit, or definitely can start to feel more stressful than fun at times. But it's definitely, I think in small doses, it's fun. And remember too, when the event comes to an end, if your map is over capacity, if I can use that phrase, if the map can normally hold 5 hunters and you have 10 hunters on the map, nobody gets kicked off. Everybody remains on the map. You can finish the map. Everybody gets a treasure chest still. What happens when the event ends is those extra slots, you can't add more hunters anymore beyond the capacity, but anyone who joined the map before the event ends, they get to stay on the map. So another example, if a map normally only allows 5 hunters and you currently have 6, when the event ends, then 6 is the new max. You can't add 4 players anymore So you can almost think of it like the invite slots go away, but anyone who happens to be on the map, they stick around. Schoolwork, you second that about the Boon. It was nice getting not getting a bunch of extra stuff you don't need. It's getting a bunch of condensed creativity and relics. I think too that kind of shows there's different ways. Different hunters have different opinions for sure, and it's subjective. Which potion is good and which one's not so good. It's in the eye of the beholder. Like I said, it's one hunter's trash is another treasure for sure. We were kicking around some other ideas of a potion that would affect the Cauldrons somehow. There were some problems with that as we started to prototype it and kind of put together the mechanics of how it would work, or something that doubles your evil extract. A potion you pour on it, you get twice as evil extract, then you can pick what potion you want to go and purchase from the apothecary, but the Boon is helping you get those potions from the apothecary as well. Those are some things we played around a little bit, ran into a few mechanical problems as we kind of put up the scaffolding to take it for a spin, but kind of share some of the ideation. Maybe that spurs some interesting observations or suggestions from hunters as well, and it'll all be good food for thought. With any event, we write down heaps of feedback, and then we put those notes logged away in our scheduling software to naturally pop back up during the time of year where we're looking to start the design work for the next Halloween event. So that'll naturally crop up probably at the end of summer 2026, right? That next year's 2026. All right, losing track of the years here. Para, you like Rift Charms with your Prestige base. You like the Riftifier potion. That's a good pick as well. Yeah, a lot of those Baba Gaga specialty potions feel nice and generic, right? Like when you pick them up, they're a little open-ended. They're not too area-specific. And that was even another change we did with the start of the Halloween event. It seemed like there was no objections or no negative sentiments from hunters, at least, was the liquid oxygen potion. We gave that a permanent home in the Sunken City. And then you can kind of treat it similar to how a radioactive blue potion works in the Halloween event. You can still purchase it from the apothecary, but it's a very area-specific potion. It's not considered one of Baba Gaga's specialty, kind of more general use potions. Judy, how about having the chance to choose which option gets created by the Boon when it does activate? Yeah, there's some interesting stuff there as well. It's because not all choices are equal, it might present a few challenges, but certainly that would be very empowering as well if you could influence the Boon in some way. That's kind of a neat idea. Christopher, will there be any other resources we could utilize to fuel ultimate potions other than essences, eh? Never say never, but it seems like a nice thematic fit. Essences are kind of what are powering those ultimate charms as well, so that kind of makes that particular resource have a clear identity and purpose. When you see it at some stage of the game, you start to recognize or associate those with ultimate charms, and then it kind of keeps a nice tight identity, so you can kind of know what's going on and keep things straight in your mind. So, but never say never. And then Pigeon there, you just like to collect things. Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't mind getting things because sometimes I just like looking at them in my inventories. Like, look at all those I've collected over the years. They almost become collectibles at that point, Well, shall we get to this week's trivia here? Because this week's trivia does have a little bit of a tie-in with map, and it's not so much trivia. I guess it's trivial knowledge, but it's more of a fun number to guess than it's anything that I would expect a hunter to actually have the knowledge of. But it's a fun guessing game all the same, and it's how many scroll cases have been opened since Relic Hunter Season 5, which is the last time we changed how we recorded how scroll cases were opened. So that's basically where we have the logging begins for us, is in Season 5. We no longer have the data to know how many scroll cases were opened before Season 5. That's gone. But we changed how that whole system works as part of Season 5. And it'd be interesting to see. Anybody have any guesses on how many scroll cases have been opened? Doesn't necessarily mean maps completed, but how many times has a scroll case been opened since then? I'm trying to remember the date now. Giorgio looked up the date of Season 5. Was it 2017? I think it was 2017. It's in the answer, so we'll see it in a moment. but I think that's 5, 6, 7, 8 years. All right. Anyone else do math like that? It's 2025. So I know there's 5, and then 2017, and I know 20 minus 17 is 3. So I add 5 and 3 together in my head. Does anyone else do that? I just right out there. Let's take a look at some guesses. 20,000 is way too low. Ice cold. You are in the ice caverns of the draconic depths. No, you are in the hidden depths of the iceberg. That's how cold you are. 750,000, still way too low. Where's the first guess that's a little bit high? 50,000, 420,000, eh? Too low. A million's too low. There's a guess that's too high. 10 million, there we go, too high. 10 million is too high. 6 million is too low, guess from Pigeon. Chips coming in at 23 mil, way too high. Ice coming in with just a few under 70,000. What made you guess that, Ice? Well, we're getting warm. We're getting warm. Ego at 7.5. You're a little high. And Christopher was 6.8 million. You're a little low. I'm going to give it to Nicholas. Nicholas Danday in the chat said 7 million. We're going to call that close enough because I can't remember the exact answer here. But it is 7,058,784 scroll cases have been opened, or that's how many maps have been started since Relic Hunter Season 5. They likely all weren't finished, but that's how many were started, because that was an easy thing to look up without having to have a computer crunch the number for 4 hours. So that was the trivia we looked up this week. I'll put the link in the chat for your clicking convenience. Zappy thinks that's a lot. Yappy says, holy smokes. How many rare map dust came out of those, I wonder, eh? There is a chance to find dust when you open up a scroll case. That varies on the scroll case. It's usually 100 relics on average will yield a rare map dust, but each scroll case's mileage may vary. It's a guideline, not a rule. And there are some ancient relics. So if you're looking to pick up a few more Halloween maps and you're running low on relics, Larry has a few ancient relics for you to help you open up a few more scroll cases and add to that total of over 7 million. At least when I checked it. I assume the number's bigger now. We checked it maybe 90 minutes ago or maybe an hour ago, something like that. Schoolwork, do we have a graph of how many were opened over time? Sadly, no. Sadly, no, actually. We don't have the date of when a map was started, unfortunately. At least not for the moment. There are some long-term plans to add that, but it's nothing that'll be added in the short term. So unfortunately, we have no concept of time of when those maps were started, but we do know that there are that many rows in the table that record a scroll case opening. Christopher, will there be more of a chance of rare map dust during the map event? Specifically from scroll cases, no. Everything else kind of works as is. Whoops, that's not a very useful screen. There's the map party. Now, everything else pretty well works just as it is. And in some ways, it makes an event nice and simple, easy to understand, easy to remember. You can invite twice as many people to maps, except solo maps, except wanted posters. Other than that, that's the only change that the event makes. And sometimes it's neat when just tweaking one little rule feels like everything's fresh and feels different for a short period of time, at least. How many of those 7 million were dusted? I don't know if we could look that up easily either, to be honest. And schoolwork, unfortunately, we don't have any stats on how many maps have been completed since a certain date. That would be a little tricky to track down. There are some stuff we don't have the information for, and other things we could, but it's a little cumbersome because we have to kind of copy the data, reformat it a bit, and then look the number up, or it'll take too long to look it up, depending on how things are set up. It's a simplification of explanation, at least. When was the first map introduced? That would be an awfully good trivia question as well, Christopher. If my memory serves me correctly, I'm going to say the Relic Hunter map was the very first kind of map. I think the first area-specific map was the Living Garden map, if I'm not mistaken. I kind of have some vague memories of when those were added. There was kind of a check. Well, like if it's a Living Garden map, do this instead of the Relic Hunter. And then as we added more area maps, it's like that's not going to work. We can't just kind of keep stacking up some if statements here, and things got revised. And over the years, the map system has evolved and changed quite a bit. It's it's been interesting to see how it started all those years ago and how it's evolved over the years. How players have even completely changed their approach to how they do maps. There's very different ways to go about how you utilize the mapping system, whether you do it with kind of a team of friends and do it as a cooperative shared goal, or whether it's something that you're looking to essentially outsource help from as many people as you can to get through it as quickly as possible as well. So it kind of is neat to see how one system can be enjoyed in different ways by different people depending on what they find fun. And that's always the hallmark of a good game, is different ways to have fun within the same game. Which hunter opened the first map? Ice, I only know that because Giorgio was looking it up, and it was me. I opened the first map, and Giorgio opened the second. We must have been testing something. I don't know. Because that seems interesting. I bet you maybe we were testing out the system. And I opened a map, and then shortly after, Giorgio opened a map. And I opened up, I think it was a nice list. I think Giorgio did look it up, and the very first map ever opened after Season 5. This is just when we have the data. Started recording that information. It was a nice list, if I'm not mistaken. So, Cutie, what's my favorite map? I'm not too big of a mapper. I do them in kind of small doses here and there, usually events. I like doing event maps. For the Mega Map Party, will slots existing open maps be doubled as well? That is a very good question. I really should have double-checked that. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that if the map is started, it should add some more slots. But that's another note to jot down. Maybe that's something good we can kind of help get a little bit of info for. But I'm going to jot down to just double-check that, because I'm saying that from pure memory and instinct, which means I probably shouldn't have said anything at all. It's just I have an inkling that the way it is implemented is it asks for what's the maximum number of hunters that can be on the map. And if the map party is active, it says ×2. If it's not, it returns the normal number. So I'm pretty sure that it works that way, but I'll have to triple check. So I'm going to say yes with a big asterisk next to it. There you go. Michelle remembers from last year. They do, in fact, double. Okay. See, it's just I don't trust my memory. I don't trust my instincts here. I got to look it up, right? I got to verify that information that's in the back of my head. There's just too much floating around there for me to trust it. Ego's going to be doing lightning treasure maps. I think that's a very popular pick as well. The Chrome Slayers, the lightning maps were very popular last year. Slayer maps were somewhat popular, but I feel like Chrome Slayer kind of took the cake there. What was the other one that was probably the M1000 Team Expedition maps? I think were also quite popular. The solo ones not so much during the map party, because those don't double. All right, well, hunters, I guess we can wrap things up on that note. So a little recap here, some important reminders about the Greenwood ingredients. They stop dropping on November 3. That's coming up. That is just next week as well. So it's kind of last weekend of the Gloomy Greenwood to be collecting ingredients and getting your Mousedrake root. Then 7 days after that, on November 10, your Cauldrons will stop brewing at that point. So you definitely need to be, you want to brew as many of your ingredients as you can during that phase, because then at that point you have to use reagent to get your Cauldrons to progress. But you remember you can exchange Mousedrake root for extract. And at that on November 10, I should have grabbed a screenshot of it. That would have been smart, actually, of the Instant Alchemy Workbench that will become available on that November 10 date, and that'll allow you easily to exchange some of your Mousedrake for reagent, You can even kind of just click around a little bit to do it carefully if you like to try to see, okay, I'll convert a little bit of it, brew a little bit more, convert a little bit more of it. You can do a few fun clicks to cash out that way as well. School would be cool if the news post for the map party had some cool historical stats about maps, eh? Yeah, it's tricky kind of sometimes tracking them down a little bit. There's maps have a lot of data associated with them as well, so sometimes it's tricky the way things are recorded. It's optimized for writing to it, but it's not optimized for reading from it. So you usually have to put a little bit of an extra engineering layer between that to be able to both easily write to it and be performant and be able to read from it. Usually actually end up storing the data twice in 2 different ways. But anyway, a topic for another day. Well, have a fantastic weekend, hunters. I believe it should be Jacob. I'd imagine that's probably going to be next week's Feedback Friday. So I'll see you in a couple weeks. And by then, let me look at the calendar. Hold on. When's the map party starting? It's starting on the 19th. 2 Fridays from now is the 14th. So we'll see you right before that map party is going to be starting up. But in the meantime, keep on brewing or collecting those ingredients. Remember, the ingredients will stop dropping next week as well. So enjoy the last parts of the Halloween event. I'll see you in a couple weeks. Happy hunting.
1, 2.
You're a trap. Don't seem to mind it. You attract me. I'm a mouse, you're a cat. I don't seem to mind it. Soft and furry. Oh, and just when I think I'm safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Just when you think you're safe, snap. I come back. You don't seem to mind it, but I'm a fool. Broke my back. You don't seem to mind it, 'cause you're so cruel. And just when I think I'm safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Ooh. And just when you think you're safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Ooh. Just when I think I'm safe. Oh. Turns out I'm never safe. Oh, just when you think you're safe.